Can we talk for a minute about our Integrating Heart and Mind workshop?
Absolutely. I'm excited. It's coming up in the fall of 2024.
I'm so excited. We changed the format to make it more accessible to people with like work schedules and personal schedules. And so this time we're going to do it 3 hours on a Friday afternoon or evening, depending on where you're at, and 5 hours on Saturday for 2 different weeks in September.
Yeah, and it's so great. Like if you're finding yourself stuck in like sticky bad patterns or having communication issues or something like that, or if you want to just like get closer and trust yourself or your partner more, this is the workshop for you.
Yeah, and individuals are welcome, couples are welcome. If you're interested in really thinking through how to serve yourself well inside of your relationships, then we've built a workshop that will support you in finding the ways that are just right for you.
To sign up, head over to our website at whydoesmypartner.com/events.
We hope you'll join us.
Welcome to the Why Does My Partner podcast. I'm Jules.
I'm Vicky.
And I'm Rebecca. We're your hosts. We're also couples therapists and messy humans bumbling through our own relationships every day.
We met at a training, and our secret sauce is that we and our partners became fast friends.
Between us, we have more than 40 years of experience holding hard relational questions with our clients.
We're going to bring those questions here, and together, we're going to take a stab at answering those questions.
This podcast is not a substitute for couples therapy. If something you hear in this podcast stirs something deep within you about your relationship, reach out to a couples therapist in your area.
We'd also love to hear your questions, so don't forget to go over to whydoesmypartner.com to leave a question of your own. Here's today's question. Why does my partner try to give me a script when we're in a fight? That's really freaking cute.
Okay, I've never done that. Tell me more.
You've never given a script?
No, that doesn't even occur to me as an option. Tell me more.
Because
I can see your face, Vic.
Why the partner will give a script. Because I've given one to Gabe many, many times. It doesn't work. Just so that everyone knows it's not effective. I don't recommend it. But it's because like I heard it at a training, or I heard it in a podcast, or I heard it and I read it in a book. But like, these are the effective ways to communicate. This is what you're supposed to say. This is how it goes better. So here, sweetheart, here is the script. Here's what you're supposed to say. And then that wasn't well received.
So, what happened?
Well, the big night that I remember, this was literally 14 years ago. And I said, like, I need you to, the way I did say it was, I need you to say this right now. And he goes, I'm not going to say that because you're being ridiculous. So it didn't work at all. We repaired that night. Everything ended up being fine. But I still remember the look on his face and how mad I was, because I was like, I could not be making this easier. This is all you have to say to me, right? I don't even remember what the script was, but I remember him saying, I will not say that right now. I was like,
I've seen this quite often with folks that are coming in for therapy, and they're saying things like, oh, my past therapist, they told us we had to do feedback wheels, or they told us we had to, and, my partner doesn't like doing those, or doesn't, it feels too forced, or...
Gabe hates the feedback wheel, so yes. He does not want a script. But yes, scripts work.
Well...
You are challenging that.
Okay, if everybody's on board with the scripts, maybe it's helpful.
Mm-hmm. Oh, fair. Okay.
Say more.
Well, I think like in our workshop, we offer, it's not really a script, it's more of a map for meta conversations, right? Mm-hmm. So here's this thing that keeps coming up, and we have this map. And the map offers prompts. It offers us opportunities to reflect on, here's the things that maybe I should bring up, because it tends to go well when I do these particular kinds of U-turns in bringing up something that might be hard for my partner to hear. And that where I have a request underneath it, or a wish for something to be different, or a need to be met in a different way. So here's a map that helps me get there. But that's all it is. It's a map. It's not a script. There's a difference between a script and a map.
I agree. There's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking too, when I've seen it show up in my office. So one, let's just draw out what we're already noticing. One reason your partner may give you a script is because they've been thinking about how to help communication be different or better. And they've been doing some reading, they've been seeing someone, they've been given a script by some, I'm putting air quotes right now, expert in the field, something of who knows what. And so maybe that came from that. And that's a possibility. And what, for the person offering that script, I want to offer an invitation and a curiosity. And it's a communication curiosity. Before you offered the script, have you told your partner what feels hard about how you're handling it already? Or are you only managing
I had
them
not.
with the script?
I'll answer that.
Right? And so, as a communication point, it may be good before we move into scripts or even maps, if we say, oh, hey, here's the larger pattern I'm noticing. Here's why and how it feels really hard for me. Does it also feel hard for you? Is this working better for you than it is for me and I don't know it? Or are we both having a hard time? Right? So as a communication point, a lot of times we don't walk over to our partners and open our mouths and say, oh, here's the thing that's hard. Instead, what happens, and I've seen it in my office for sure, I've seen it where people are like, no, I need you to say it exactly like this. And it wasn't coming from any expert. It was more coming from their own system of exactly what they wanted to hear. And sometimes the partner might do it and sometimes the partner might not. But both times it seems to fall a bit flat. That what you think you're going to get
backfire because the next piece is often, oh, but I don't really think you meant it.
Right. As I told you what to say.
I'm realizing I'm hearing you guys repeating this back, and sadly, again, because I was the one that did it. Wow, it's controlling.
It's a little managerial, isn't it?
It's more than a little.
I see your grimace. I see your grimace.
Oh.
I welcome your reflection, Vicki. Go ahead. Say it.
So controlling. And I think it hit me that with all due respect, and none of my couples have actually done this. So if you guys are listening, I'm not talking about you. But I just know that if I had a couple in my office and one partner said it, that's what I would hear is, even as a therapist, my first thought would be, why are you trying so hard to control your partner? So yikes.
And
that was me.
Let's answer that question. Why on earth are we trying to control our partner? To make sure it feels safer for us. To do something vulnerable without actually touching your vulnerability. To make it a vulnerable thing less vulnerable. That's the why. But the problem
to avoid pain.
To avoid pain. But the problem is that when we manage each other, when we try to control or kind of shape the situation without being honest about what's going on, then what's likely to happen is we're going to end up feeling invasive or controlling for our partner, and we won't realize that actually we're creating more harm and more hurt than we maybe would have done had we just gone to the vulnerable thing. But I don't want to pretend, that this stuff is always going to go well. Because if you don't have a script, even if you try to follow a map, good luck, right? I mean, I think you can. And also, that doesn't mean it's going to go great every time. So we have to say yes to vulnerability.
No, those maps are hard.
Yeah.
I don't think you can follow the map.
I write some of them.
If you're not,
and I have a hard time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we can follow these maps if we're not doing the inside work first of doing a U-turn, right? Of checking in with ourselves. And this is what we've been talking about in every episode in the series so far. We're talking about communication, but really, let's slow this down and say what we're really talking about. In order to communicate well, say it with me, folks, we need to be tracking our brain state. Because if we're not tracking our brain state and we're not able to see and say, something in here isn't feeling okay, we're not going to be communicating with any nuance. We're going to be
Mhm.
just firing away at each other. We're going to be moving in towards our shame or our blame or our frustrated or our trying to get someone to or trying to get ourselves to kinds of parts or moving
Yeah.
towards fight, flight, freeze.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever our protections are, right?
Whatever those
We're
are.
going to go there or we're going to get flooded with old pain. And either way is a really hard space to be in. So,
And neither one is
Mhm.
going to
know,
let us really communicate.
Or connect.
yeah.
It's going to be too
And
hard
it
to
doesn't,
risk.
see, this is why I like a map better than a script, because a map can give you a
Mhm.
little bit of a track to follow, a trail to be on in the woods,
Mhm.
but it doesn't
Mhm.
tell you how you should walk down that trail, how long your
Right.
gait should
How
be,
you should step.
whether or not you should pause on the trail and step off the trail for a minute, but say, look
Mhm.
over here though. So the map gives you a little bit of an outline, but gives you enough freedom to really show up as you. And I think that can create a little bit of structure that makes vulnerable things feel a little bit steadier, but not less vulnerable. In fact, this increased steadiness adds vulnerability. It makes it okay to risk more.
Can I go ahead and share with our listeners what a map, like what the kind of prompts on the map would look like? So
Mhm.
we offer this meta conversation map in our Integrating Mind and Heart workshop. And the map is geared at you're having this repetitive hard moment and you want to talk about it. And so you're going to bring it up and you're going to say something like, here's the thing that keeps coming up for me. The thing I'm contributing to this is that probably is hard for me because when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
And so the story I make up about it is, and when I believe the story I make up, I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And the unmet need inside of this is, and what would really help me to meet that need. So it's less of a script and more of like a, here's the places you go and here's how you're doing the U-turn so that your partner is hearing, oh, this is the stuff that's getting kicked up inside of me. It's not all about this thing you're doing. It's also about this stuff.
Right. And you can feel how much U-turning there is. And I think that's a lot of our keys to communication. Well, part of it is we want it to be easier than it is. We want it to be more simple than it is. It's not. Communication is incredibly complex. But one big key is to keep U-turning and really get where you are so that you can be a little bit more vulnerable with your communication and say out loud, oh, here's what's going on for me as this is happening. Not from a fix it for me, sweetie space, but from a, no, really, do you want to know me deeper space?
Yeah, let's land right there.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us.
Yeah, see you next time.
Bye-bye. That wraps up this week's episode. Join us again next week for another Why Does My Partner? We hope that you continue to listen wherever you get your audio and that you'll follow the show. To go deeper, join us at one of our workshops. You'll find our next date at whydoesmypartner.com.
Did you know you can ask us your questions? Your questions are relational gold. Go to whydoesmypartner.com to either write in or record your question for a future episode.
And here are some gratitudes. Thanks to Al Hoberman, our sound editor and podcast production magic maker, our audio intern, Cole Rickman, and to every one of you who has joined us for our workshops in the past. We've learned so much from all of you.
If you're enjoying these conversations, please subscribe, rate, and especially please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
Thanks so much for listening to Why Does My Partner? Take care of each other best you can.
See you next time.